Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining our keynote, Investing in Existing Building Infrastructure, Long-Term Value versus Short-Term Costs. So the infrastructure we rely on every day, like hotels, apartments, airports, have huge potential for optimization, especially all the commercial buildings. And during the next couple of minutes, we will give you a clear picture of the reasons why we are doing building automation. We will compare different technologies which we can use to retrofit an existing building. We will have a look on the requirements from the market and also from the customer side. And we will compare the performance of different radio technologies. And last but not least, we will have a look at the cost and the value. My name is Mario Schröder. I'm with Thermokon, a well-known and established sensor manufacturer based in Germany.
Also, welcome from my side. My name is Dietz. I am the technical product manager at Thermokon and responsible for our LoRaWAN portfolio. So, as Mario has mentioned before, we have to be clear about what we are talking here. And when we are talking about building automation, we want to focus in this keynote here more on the commercial building automation. It means if you're talking about private or smart home, you have many applications that are served, but here we want to focus on that what is responsible for the most costs in commercial buildings, which is the heating and cooling systems, which is the air ventilation systems, and the blind and shade control. So that is summarized about what we are talking here. Yeah, when we have the existing buildings, at the moment, the biggest percentage of all buildings we are living in the next years are already built. That means we have to find ways somehow to retrofit existing buildings, also on the commercial side and the private side. And that's why retrofitting, from our point of view, will become a very important point when we're talking about the commercial buildings. And now how we can do retrofitting. We have tried to figure out two different ways. For sure, you will find also hybrid solutions, but we see two main points how we can do retrofitting. It is on the one hand side with a hard wire technology. That means we wire everything with cables. On the other hand side, we use radio technologies. But when we compare both ways how to retrofit a building, first point is installation time. When we use hardwire technologies, you have to close a building, you have construction work, and you need more or less days to, let me say, to retrofit everything and install new technology. And for sure, you have downtime. For example, a hotel room, you can't use it in the time where there are installed new cables. When we talk about radio technologies, you are much quicker. You can do it within several hours if everything is prepared properly before and you do not have downtime. The investment costs, when we take into consideration the labor costs on both sides, then you have much higher investments on the cable side, even if the components might be a little bit cheaper. But if you take into account the labor costs, then the radio technology also have advantages. When we talk about flexibility, for sure you can be flexible with a wired solution, but this flexibility is also related to high costs. You're much more flexible when you install radio technology somewhere in a building. If you have a rearrangement of rooms, of offices, you're much more flexible with radio technologies. And the last point for this is the scalability. It's the same one. You can scale for sure also in hardwired installation, but that's also again cost intensive as you have to run new cables to install new cables, and you're much more flexible, this kind of plug-and-play solution when you do this with radio technologies. So, as conclusion of that, what we've seen before, that radio technologies, even if, especially LoRaWAN, is quite a good point, a good technology for retrofitting existing commercial buildings.
Thanks. So let's have a look at the requirements we see in the market on radio technologies. On the one hand side, we see a lot of governmental requirements which which information an existing building has to report. And I'm pretty sure most of you have heard some of those terms. And they are all different, but they are focusing more or less all the same goals. It's sustainability, decarbonization, environmental protection, and energy efficiency. And to be in line with all these new regulations, we need new data points, additional data points. First, we have to record the current situation, then we have to analyze it, and finally, we have to find optimizations. And on the other hand side, we see also a lot of customer requirements. You can also call it pain points from our customer, which have to do this retrofit or create this additional data points. So easy integration, scalability, plug and play, high security standard, long battery lifetime, radio signal. At the end of the day, you can say all our customers are looking for easy integration where they do not need any downtime. And out of all these points, I created this grid, which covers all the pain points or main topics which are important for our customers. And the red line indicates the customer requirements. So on the next slide, I will add the LoRaWAN performance based on these requirements. And what we can see here is pretty clear that LoRaWAN covers more or less the most requirements. So we have a gap on the data rate, but the applications we are serving, the low data rate doesn't have any negative influence to that because we are focusing on non-time critical applications. And from that point of view, LoRaWAN is a great fit for retrofitting existing commercial buildings. The next slide, I will add some radio technologies to the grid and also hardwired technology just to indicate that the performance of the other technologies are not better than the LoRaWAN performance. It means they have all their individual special field where they are used. For example, Wi-Fi is used for high data transaction, the streaming. Zigbee is most often used for lighting applications. And when it comes to hardwired solutions, we are talking more or less about new constructions. And yeah, from that point of view, when we consider all those technologies, LoRaWAN is a great fit for retrofitting commercial buildings. And as I already mentioned, LoRaWAN solution has significant advantages compared to other radio technologies and hardwire technologies. So compared to radio technologies, we need less gateways. So we do not need any cables to connect the sensors. So that means we have less installation time, less labor costs, less working hours, and at the end of the day, we have our building faster optimized, which means we can reduce our operating cost and our TCO immediately. So here's a rough conclusion or summary why LoRaWAN is a great fit. So we fulfill customer requirements. We provide needed data points to fulfill all the governmental requirements. We have a fast installation and integration process, significant advantages compared to hardwired technologies. The radio signal penetration compared to other radio technologies are way better, and we do need less gateways than other radio technologies need to cover the identical area.
So, as we promised you, we want to talk also a little bit about the long-term value and the short-term costs, and now I want to add some details about that, what we are really talking about. We have chosen as an example a typical hotel room which you want to retrofit regarding the points that we saw in the beginning. It means we want to adjust a new heating system, and this is the easiest way to save operational cost of a building, to bring the, let me say, existing manual heating system to a connected LoRaWAN system. For example, with a simple radiator valve. Then we can add to this application some room operating units where you have external sensors, where you can adjust the set point manually in the room. And again, you can also then add an occupancy sensor that you only heat the room if the room is occupied. And as last point, you can then take also into account the status of the window, as it doesn't make sense to heat a room if the window is open. Yeah, then here we now want to compare a little bit the costs of a radio technology and a wire technology. As you've seen before, in the first point, you see that the components for wired solutions might be a little bit cheaper. But what is the main point here is that you see that the labor costs or the installation time for this wired solutions is much higher. And also you have downtime, which you have to take into consideration when we talk about the total cost of ownership. And even the often complaint point that you have to change batteries with LoRaWAN is not so relevant if you compare it to, let me say, the costs that you have when you install wired technologies for retrofit applications. For sure, this is just an example which helps to understand what we're talking about, and there will be also, let me say, applications where the relation between both is a little bit different. It's just an indicative example. Yeah, but then what is the long-term value? We had already talking about the reduction of the emissions for CO2. Also, the reduction of the operational costs is more or less the biggest long-term value. But on the other hand side, you have also governmental requirements which force you to do something within your building. And if we then talk about the value that the building has without a digitalization or without a retrofitted building automation, then it becomes very clear what the long-term value of such an installation in a building could be. Yeah.
Thanks. This is a brief overview which indicates how LoRaWAN helped to reduce the total cost of ownership. So we have to consider several aspects. So the hardware, the installation time, scalability, and connectivity. All this comes together how we can reduce the total cost of ownership and make the building more sustainable. Wienke already mentioned it during the opening speech, so that the future of LoRaWAN looks very bright. This is also our assumption, and that's why we are focusing on LoRaWAN. But my question is, what is the future of LoRaWAN technology in retrofit commercial buildings? And I asked ChatGPT, and yeah, it's pretty clear how the future looks. So due to the increasing demand of sustainability, and the benefits of LoRaWAN, so the indication is that the LoRaWAN will have a bright future because it's a powerful tool to retrofit existing buildings and yeah, make the world more sustainable and smarter. So we are at the end here. Hope all of you could get a better overview of why we have to retrofit commercial buildings and what the best option would be. You can find us at booth A11, and now we are here for any questions, if there are other questions in the audience. Thanks.